Hello there, fellow cultists. This is DM Nell, and I'm back with another Shadow Talk. This one is another milestone. This is episode 150. 150. I've done this 150 times. More than that, actually, because there's some episodes that were so bad that I didn't bother posting them. But the official count is 150. And so, yeah, I can't believe it. So, here we are. And am I doing anything special for it? Or do I have some surprise guests? Do I have an amazing array of content to show you? No, I don't have any of that crap. What I do have is basically um, just the usual stuff. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Yes, let's shall. So the first thing I want to talk about is news on the Schwab Entertainment front, and there's not a whole lot to report this week. There are a couple of things that have been released. One of them is Uncanny Arcana. So, Uncanny Arcana is a supplement for Shadow the Demon Lord, and it is expanding on the magic system for Shadow the Demon Lord. It is optional, of course, but um, if you dig the magic system and you want to make it a little bit better, then or a little bit different, then you have an option for it now. So let's just read a little bit about it, shall we? So it says poison pages for Shadow the Demon Lord. You can find magic just about anywhere in the world. Described in Shadow the Demon Lord, the game makes it easy to choose and cast just about any kind of spell imaginable. As of this writing, we're closing in on the game's 10-year anniversary. That's crazy. Although I'm committed to not releasing a new edition, I recognize that even this robust magic system could benefit from some tweaks and additions. That's where Uncanny Arcana comes in. In the following pages, you'll find an optional rule for determining your power score, which makes it more rewarding to pick up magic use at the expert and magic master tiers. You'll also find over 160 all new talents across dozens of traditions of magic. What better way to reward those who explore arcane secrets than with options to give them even more depth and flexibility? Okay, so there you go. Some new ways to calculate your power score and some tradition. So I did get this. I haven't read it yet because I'm not currently playing a Demon Lord campaign. But from what I thumbed through, it kind of looks like he being Schwab, is kind of taking the Shadow the Weird Wizard approach with talents uh, for each tradition. But I could be wrong. Again, I just kind of thumbed through it briefly, and I did not go in depth. So, at any rate, this is a new offering for Shadow of the Demon Lord. Go grab it on Drive-Thru RPG. I think it's a couple bucks or so. Okay, so that is the first new offering. The second thing is, where was it? No. It was over here. Here we go. Paths of Horror. Okay, so this is a bundle of the Paths of Horror for Shadow the Demon Lord again, but this bundle is specifically for Fantasy Grounds. So for those of you who use Fantasy Grounds as your virtual tabletop, you now have the Darkness, Horror, Iron, and Science Master Paths, or actually it's both Expert and Master Paths. So there's 5 Expert Paths and 20 Master Paths that you can add to your virtual tabletop campaign. So hopefully that'll be coming over to Foundry at some point because that's the one I use. Okay, so that is that. And the last new thing I wanted to mention, when I was looking for some stuff to add or to talk about, I kind of ran across this in StartPlaying. So StartPlaying is a it's a website where you can go to look for a game. These are games that you pay for. So, these are professional game masters that will run games for you and your group for a fee. And, I haven't really looked into Start Playing too much. I kind of thought about going into that myself, but then I thought, no, I don't think I want to do gaming for my job because that would make it a job and then I would hate it. So, but for those of you that are looking for a game, you don't have a local group, you're having a hard time finding a game, um, or you have a local group, you just don't have a game master. This is a good way to find a game. So Start Playing offers tons of games in a variety of systems. Of course, you can find 8 billion Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder games, but I was surprised to find that there is a Shadow the Weird Wizard offering out here as well. So this is from somebody by the name of Shukin. And let's see, he's been on here for a year, so he's got a year's worth of Start Playing experience. So he or she. So this is probably a safe bet to at least give a shot. So what is Shukin offering here? So price per player per session is $20. Okay, and these sessions will be 3 to 3.5 hours. So what is that? About $8 an hour, 8.30 an hour, something like that, 8.35. Anyway, number of players, he will accommodate from 2 to 6 players, and then experience required. It is open to all. He is offering, he or she, I don't know the gender identity of Shukin, but we'll say Shukin is offering beginner and LGBTQ friendly games. And then he does the Shadow the Weird Wizard on Foundry VTT. He uses Discord and Theater of the Mind. Okay, so that is a game if you guys are interested in trying out a Shadow the Weird Wizard game, then Shukin can hook you up. Here's some more details down here. I don't have, I don't have the time to go through all this, but anyway. So yeah, go check them out. Start Playing. If I can remember to put the link in the show notes, then I will do that. Okay, so that's all the news that I have for Shadow the Demon Lord, Shadow the Weird Wizard, and all the other Schwab Entertainment offerings. Okay, so that leads us to our main topic, and our main topic is dun dun dun. I am starting a new campaign, and my new campaign is going to be Shadow the Weird Wizard. Yes, finally I'll get to play Shadow the Weird Wizard, and I'm pretty stoked about this. This is going to be a fun campaign. At least I hope it'll be a fun campaign. I'm playing it in Foundry, of course, because it is my VTT of choice, but it's also the only VTT that I'm aware of that supports Shadow the Weird Wizard currently. Now, Foundry, or no. Fantasy Grounds may support Shadow the Weird Wizard. I don't know. I haven't checked. But I have checked Roll20. And as of the last time I checked, was probably a couple weeks ago, there were no character sheets built for Shadow the Weird Wizard. Now, does that prevent you from playing on Roll20 or any other virtual tabletop? No, you can, obviously use the virtual tabletop for maps and stuff, but if you're looking for some automation and the ability to, use a character sheet or build a compendium or, things like that, you're not going to find it in anything other than Foundry, to my knowledge. So if I'm wrong and somebody knows of another virtual tabletop that you can play Shadow the Weird Wizard on with some automation built in with a character sheet and that sort of stuff, then please let me know and I will pass the word on. But again, to my knowledge, Foundry is the only place where you can find it. Support for Shadow the Weird Wizard. Okay, so having said that, I have built my campaign here in Foundry, and I am getting ready for my first session. I actually had my session 0 last week, and my players and I kind of set up the whole background for the campaign. We developed characters, and we have 4 characters. So I have 4 players, 4 characters. The characters are Gosetsu, who is a wizard, Nudex, who is a Woodwoes priest, Ox, which is a clockwork fighter, and Ansalam, which is a human thief, rogue, thief. What is it? Thief or rogue in Shadow the Weird Wizard. Too many games in my head to keep this stuff straight. Okay, so fighter, mage, rogue. Okay, so Ansalam is the human rogue. All right, so we got our characters created in our session 0. I gave some background information, and this is all official stuff that is out of the Shadow of the Weird Wizard and Secrets of the Weird Wizard. And so I plan on playing this pretty much by the book, rules-wise, but lore-wise, I'm going to take some liberties. And the reason for that is because we don't have a whole lot of lore for Shadow of the Weird Wizard. I'm sure there will be tons of lore added as this game ages, but since this is a brand new game, it's only been out a few months, the only lore that we have is the lore that's been presented in Shadow of the Weird Wizard and Secrets of the Weird Wizard. Now there may be some stuff that's out there in the Discord channel for Schwab Entertainment. I don't know. I don't keep up with the Sorry, I'm getting messaged by my players as we speak. But at any rate, what was I saying? Oh yeah, we don't have a whole lot of lore, just what's in here, and if there's stuff in Discord, I don't keep up with it. So I'm just playing it what's been presented in the book so far, which isn't a whole lot. It's just some really basic stuff. So I'm going to be taking some liberties as my campaign progresses, because my campaign will probably last, anywhere from 3 months to 6 months to 9 months to a year. It could be, who knows how long it'll last. But at any rate, I will most likely have to expand upon, some of the regions and some of the things within the Borderlands that's not detailed in either of these books. And unless stuff comes out during the course of my campaign, I, won't be able to really incorporate it. So, I'm going to have to make it up, which is fine. I've made up stuff for Shadow of the Demon Lord too. Although I've mostly kept to the lore of Shadow of the Demon Lord, I have interjected my own things there as well. But from a, from a region the various parts of the Borderlands. I'm sure there's lore to be had there that's in Schwab's head that will eventually make it into a product. But I can't wait that long for that stuff, so I'm just going to have to make it up as I go. And I'm fine with that. If my Borderlands diverges from Schwab's Borderlands, and so be it. That's just how, that's how it's going to have to be, because I'm starting my campaign early and I can't wait 2 years before we have a good library of lore to go by. So at any rate, I have the map here loaded into my Foundry, and I gotta say that the one complaint I have about Weird Wizard with the map is that it's kind of a monochrome, not it is a monochrome map, just very shades of this yellowish tannish color, which is not the easiest to really make out the differences between the terrain types. So, you can tell over here the salt barrens are supposed to be desert. And then you've got the plains here with scrub and, stuff like that. Then you got forests. This is one type of forest here. This is a different type of forest here. Different type of forest here. And then you got jungles over here. Some wastes, which again, more desert. You got grasslands over here. And then, of course, you got the sea. You have lakes. Then you got the oceans, which are the much lighter color. But it would have been nice if we could have had some color maps provided to us. Also, a more detailed map. I mean, this is okay, but you can see the more you zoom in, the less clear the font becomes. It's not to the point where you can't read it. Clearly that says Silver River, Haven, the climb. I think that says keep. And not too sure there. But at any rate, a higher resolution map would be nice as well. So, anybody in Schwab Entertainment or that has ties to Schwab Entertainment, listening or watching, and give us a higher resolution map, folks, please, and in color. A color one would be great. Okay, so anyway, that's the only bitching I'll do for the rest of the video. Probably not. All right, so where am I starting? I am starting, the first adventure I'm going to be using is the One Bad Apple quest. And so those of you that are familiar with One Bad Apple, it is situated in a city, or not a city, it is situated in a village by the name of Two Forks. And so it doesn't say where Two Forks is. It could be pretty much anywhere. It kind of alludes to the location being somewhere close to the Salt Barrens, simply because the people that make up the village are refugees from the old country. So it makes sense that it would be a town situated somewhere along the, near the Salt Barrens. But I chose to not put it there. For reasons that I'm not going to go into here. It's going to go into it. The reasons are based on the campaign that I plan on running. And so I decided to not put the town over there. We already have kind of a frontier town, new town over here that's on the border of the Salt Barrens and the Pindarm, the plains of Pindarm. So I really didn't want to put another village. There's probably dozens of villages along that border anyway. So I decided instead to put Two Forks over here. It's going to be situated fairly close to a lot of stuff. So we have the Sentinel Wood, and we also have the Etterkop Forest. We've got the Ranger's Path. We've got the Lake of Plenty, the Mudwater River. We have a town of Edgewood that's fairly close. We have this feature called the Pit, which, what is the Pit? I don't know. Is the Pit in the Secrets? Probably. Let's just take a look here real quick. The Pit. Where is the Pit? Here it is. Okay, so not even the oldest, crustiest settler recalls who or what made the pit. Believed bottomless, it features a perfectly circular opening 100 feet in diameter, set in a dry mudflat. Markings on the wall suggest that something dug it out from below. Odd vapors sometimes rise from the depths, and there's always a spicy smell about the hole. Okay, so that could be anything, but it is an interesting feature that is not too far from Two Forks. We have Blackwater, a lake, and also looks like a town. We have Deep Water. We have the Briny Flats down here to the south. We also have the Broken Hills, Land's End, which is a port city, and Seahold, which is another port city. Then we have the city of Four Towers. We have the Midlands here and the Inner Sea over here. If we go to the north, we have nearby the Eye of God and the Wastes, and then not too terribly far is the Great Jungle of Za. So lots of interesting things in this area of the borderlands, which is why I kind of wanted to put Two Forks kind of like in the middle of a lot of different options. So this is going to be our starting point. And so, if you know the quest for the first quest, the One Bad Apple, I'm not going to go into that here today because what I plan on doing going forward is I plan on doing kind of a campaign summary. After each session, perhaps after each quest, maybe after each quest, I will do a video that summarizes the adventures of Gosetsu, Nudax, Ox, and Anselom. Now, I toyed with the thought of recording my sessions and making those available, but I know there's at least one player that's not interested in having in being recorded. So the option of doing that is not an option. But that doesn't prevent me from summarizing the adventures of this group. Provided I keep my players' identities secret. They need secret identities. Because they're all high-ranking political officials, and they don't want anybody to be able to use this as blackmail. So they're not really political officials. So anyway, there you go. So I plan on doing summaries of each quest as this campaign progresses. Now, as far as the campaign itself, the campaign is loosely based off of an old Dungeons and Dragons adventure. And I'm not going to spoil that because I know at least one of my players watches these videos, and so I don't want to spoil what the campaign is going to be based off of. But I will say that it is an old basic D&D adventure, and it will be, again, just loosely based off of that. So I'm taking a lot of liberties with the adventure, but the core of the finale is going to be fairly accurate to the original adventure. Now, the weird thing is I never ran that adventure, but I have read a lot about it. I don't actually own that module. At least I don't think I do. But I do know that I can get a hold of it if I want to, but I don't need to because there have been some updated versions of it that have been created, and so I have access to those. So based off of those cryptic clues, you might be able to make an educated guess on what my campaign is going to be loosely based on if you're familiar with all the old D&D. And again, we're talking basic D&D, so this is like late 70s, early 80s time frame. So there you go. But at any rate, again, loosely based, I'm actually going to be using Schwalb Entertainment quests, and I'm going to be retrofitting them into this campaign. Or maybe retrofitting the campaign into these quests. I don't know which way is the correct way to think about that, but at any rate, I'm mashing them together to create my own thing. And so starting with Apple, One Bad Apple, and I believe, at least as of this recording, my second quest is going to be Friends in Need, although that is still being determined. So I am going to potentially change that, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Friends in Need. Okay, so my first session is going to be this coming Tuesday. As of this recording, this is August 2024. So we will have our first official session on Tuesday, and most likely the Apple adventure will take at least a session, if not two. I'm thinking two, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about my player characters. So we have Gosetsu, who is a mage. Now this is an interesting character because the player wanted to have a character that was not from any of the regions in the Borderlands or any of the regions presented in Shadow of the Wood Wizards or Secret of the Wood Wizard. He actually wanted a character that was based off of, Asian lore, real world Asian lore. And he wanted his character to be somewhat samurai-ish. So he reached out to me when we were talking about this campaign, and he said, he told me what his character concept was, and I was like, okay, well, we only have this one little part of this vast world that has been presented to us. Of course, there can be another continent or another region in this world that we are not aware of that is emulated off of the Oriental adventures type of world or background or region or whatever. And I think that's kind of a cool idea. I always kind of wanted to play an Oriental Adventures campaign. I'm not really very well versed in Asian lore. But I know about as much as the next guy does as far as samurai and that stuff. I did own the original Oriental Adventures book, which was I don't know if that was first edition or second. I think it was first edition D&D. I did own that book way back when, and I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. I wish I still had that book. But we never did play an Oriental Adventures campaign. Of course, there was not a whole lot of that type of lore available back in the 80s. But now, I mean, the Asian culture is just readily available, through the internet or through pop culture, through manga and through anime and through all that stuff. All kinds of things that harken to that part of this world's history, and so all of that is readily available. And if one of my player characters wants to run a samurai-ish character, then more power to him. So who am I to say no? So yeah, so somewhere in the Shadow of the Weird Wizard world, there is an Oriental influenced region, as of yet not named, and as of yet not placed within this world. But we did say that it's somewhere in the Far East, because why not? Why change the location when it's the Far East is synonymous with that here in the real world. So why not keep it the same way? So we know what we're talking about. So anyway, Gosetsu is starting off as a wizard. So he's going to be he wants to have the samurai servant kind of background. And so how did he get to the Borderlands? Well, we're leaving that very vague. At this point, all he knows is that he woke up in a strange land with all of his equipment. He could remember who he was, and he could remember... Now, he can remember his name, he can remember what he can do, but beyond that, he can't remember where he came from or anything else. But he does know that he has he has magic power available to him. So Gosetsu, I think is how he wants me to pronounce it. Gosetsu is our party wizard. Then we have Nudax. Nudax is a Woodwose priest. So it's funny, we're kind of developing his his background right now. The player just provided me some basic background information, and I'm kind of expanding on that. We're going back and forth. And so we're still figuring out what New Dex is about, but yeah, he's a priest of the grandfather tree. Then we have Ox, which is the shortened version of Operational Exterminator number 237. So Ox is a clockwork created for war, and he's got the head of a bull and a mechanized humanoid body. And so Ox is interesting. I haven't read his background as of yet. I think it's on his character sheet. I'll read that after I'm done doing the video. But I do know that the player of Gosetsu and Ox have collaborated and decided that their characters met up at some point. So I'm going to have to read that backstory and incorporate that into the game before next Tuesday. All right, and then our mystery character is Ansalam. Have not heard from the player of Ansalam as of yet. I don't know what he has in mind for Ansalam's background. But let's just take a look at the map and see what some opportunities are. So the City of Thieves is down here to the southeast. And if we see how far away that is, that's 800 miles. So that's a good clip away from Asylum, the City of Thieves. However, there could be, the player could have, taken a different route by sea to end up at the Four Towers and then somehow made it to Two Forks, which is 250 miles away. Now, you might be asking me, how did you come up with that mileage there, DM Nell? Or actually, it's Sage Nell. That's right, because Sage is what the Game Master is called in this game. All right, so I made it up. Totally made it up. I figured, what's a good distance between things? I wanted a distance where it is, it's rough to reach things, but it's not impossible to reach things. So I initially thought of 100 miles per hex, but then that got to be too big. So from moving from one hex to another hex would take several days, and I thought, it's excessively distant and unnecessarily so. So I decided on 50 miles. 50 miles feels good to me. That means that let's say from Newtown to the pit, or actually let's say from Newtown to this unnamed town here by the Lake of Plenty is 200 miles. So it'd take what, a couple weeks to get there, maybe? And then it might take, 3 or 4 weeks to get to Atacop Forest. That feels right to me. If you wanted to cross the entirety of the borderlands, including the Salt Barrens, all the way to the land bridge over here, then we're talking 2,000 miles. Right? So that's not quite the distance across the United States, but it's still a pretty good distance. So the borderlands are a good chunk of land. The jungles of Za are 500 miles across. The wastes, north to south, about 500 miles. So this distance makes these areas significant. And Sentinel Wood, 250 miles across. Wyvern Wood, about 400 miles from the longest points. So that feels right to me. It may not be, Lord of the Rings distances, but again, I think it'll work for me in my campaign. So anyway, so that is how I decided on 50 miles per hex. Okay, so you might be asking, Sage Nell, give us a clue, man. What are you focusing on here? Are you going to be Are you going to be playing in the Kazoo lands? Are you going to be, you know, going to the Forbidden City? You know, are you going to be tooting around the great jungle of Za? What are you going to be doing? Well, I'm not going to say because, again, I don't want to spoil things, but I would kind of like to have a tour of the Borderlands as this campaign progresses. So even though we start here in Two Forks, I would like to be able to say that the campaign will go, perhaps to Four Towers, then maybe to the Wyvern Wood, then maybe somewhere over here, then maybe to the Great Jungles of Za, perhaps paying a visit to the Dragon Fist Monastery for some reason, maybe spending a little bit of time in the Kazoo lands. Maybe they have to go to the Dragon Spire for some reason. So I would like to kind of do a tour of the Borderlands if possible. I haven't figured out, I'm working on the outline for the campaign still, and I'm still on the novice tier. So obviously I've got a ways to go. I know where it's going to end. That I do know. But I don't know how we're going to get there. And I don't want to plan too far ahead because generally when I do that, I have to redo my outline anyway because the campaign takes a turn that I don't anticipate. And so, I'm just going to be kind of playing it by ear this time. I am going to be, again, picking quests from Schwab Entertainment. But, I will put them in where I need them throughout the Borderlands to get me to the next juncture of the campaign. So the novice tier is going to be just kind of an introduction to Shadow the Weird Wizard. We're not going to get deep into the campaign itself, probably until the expert tier. Is when things are going to start revealing themselves. Now, in the first adventure, they will come upon a ruin that will give some clues as to the overarching theme of the campaign. But they're just going to be clues. It's not going to be a reveal or anything like that. So there will be, a lot of that sprinkled throughout this campaign. I'm also going to be introducing my own big bad evil guy, in addition to the end. Let me call him an elder evil threat. That will be the 10th level. The threat that they'll have to face at 10th level. But prior to reaching that, there will be a big bad evil guy that is, causing trouble throughout the Borderlands. And so that is a dude of my own creation, inspired off of a bit of music. And so we're going to be, the character's going to be, pitted against the forces of this big bad evil dude at some point. I have a lot of inspirations for this campaign. I am inspired by the fact that there are druids in this campaign that are clearly taken out of Terry Brooks's Shannara series. And so I definitely plan on incorporating that. I also dig the Ancient Ones, which are clearly modeled after the Greek mythology Titans. And so I'll be using that. And of course, all the other stuff that is baked into the setting itself already, which is the old gods, and all the various bits of lore that's been sprinkled throughout the Borderlands. Again, there's not much there, but there are tidbits here and there, and I'll try to incorporate all that stuff in as well. Okay, so I've rambled on a lot about my campaign. I haven't started it yet. But next Tuesday is a big day, so I will keep you all informed on how it's going, and hopefully this will be a fun ride for us. Well, I know it'll be a fun ride for us, but hopefully, recounting the adventures of Gosetsu, Nudax, Ox, and Anselm will be enjoyable for you all as well. Okay, so that's all I've got for today's episode number 150. I want to thank you all for hanging with me for 150 episodes. Um, Once again, I don't know how long I'm going to keep doing this. I could decide to stop doing this next week. But it's kind of fun to throw this out there and to see if there's any other people that can benefit from what I learn out of running Shadow the Weird Wizard. And that's the other thing I'm going to be incorporating into my overview videos is what am I learning from the Shadow the Weird Wizard's game system? You know, I've read through it, of course, but not word for word. And so I'm going to be giving my commentary on how I like the game system, how it compares to Shadow the Weird Wizard, how it compares to D&D and other role-playing games, and just my overall feeling of the Shadow the Weird Wizard system. It's going to be a much more heroic adventure. Heroic meaning that it's not going to be the grimdark that Shadow the Demon Lord is. And that's on purpose. My players have been vocal about wanting to play heroes, to be the good guys, to be guys that are not so morally ambiguous, to do the right thing, and to know that they are, working together to do good in the world. And so that's what I intend to do, at least try to do in this campaign. Now, can it take a dark turn? Totally, absolutely. They could totally throw me a curveball, and all of a sudden they are, marauders on the road and killing people left and right. That could totally happen, and I would not be surprised if that occurred. But I think at least initially we're all on the same page, and we will all want to try to do a heroic D&D-esque campaign. And so that's the goal here. So at any rate, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. And if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments for the video. So with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Hail to the Demon Lord and all that stuff. So how do I turn this damn thing off?